reach the back rows without speaking terribly loudly. All right, so here we are. Welcome to the meeting. We're going to start in about 30 seconds. I think there's a stream going. Dennis, are we streaming even as we speak? It's starting up. Oh, you know what? We didn't publish any links. Oh, well. Hopefully the guys will go to the generic link and be able to see them. What's that?
I published one this morning.
Okay, did you include that message about we're not going to publish them to the mailing list? Just the link. No message about it's not going to be here next month? Okay, good. Fuzzy, warm and fuzzy. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll unplug the headphone out from the PA and plug it straight into Dennis. And 1, 2, 3. I'm hoping to be understood. Well, let me know that's what PA is. So plug in the PA. Well, okay, I don't know what to do about that. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is with both of them. It's good. Okay. Well, I think it's Dennis's fault. Good afternoon, and welcome to the afternoon session of the Silicon Valley Fourth Interest Group. I'm your program chairman, and we have a little light on the content today, but hopefully you'll be entertained regardless. So there I was at home Friday, and my TV told me that it was going to install updates. And I said, no, not now. And then it said, okay, well, I'll install them the next time I go into standby. And then there was a clicky that said, okay. No clicky that said, no, don't do that. So it's the what Stan Kellybottle used to refer to as the mafia dialog box. Yes and yes are the two choices, defaulting to yes. So the new updates to the software in my TV, which I expect is a Linux-based device, these new updates were installed in the wee hours of the morning or something. When I turned off the TV that evening, it started doing its work. So off is a mutable concept for these TVs and computers. It's never really off exactly. It's like when they want to know where you are and you've got a GPS-enabled cell phone and it's off, they can turn it on in some cases. So I turn on the TV this morning in the wee hours, and it says, oh, we're going to finish installing this stuff. And it says, oh, we've got a new feature that you can configure. And it wants you to agree to the terms of service and the privacy restrictions. And it's going to make your TV interactive. So it's going to watch what you're watching and give you stuff that pertains to that and give you the opportunity to go look at the director's comments or other things on your TV. Well, I said, gee, this is remarkably like the real internet. I just have a TV to watch, broadcast TV, a thing from the dark ages.
Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
And I don't want advertisements and things being fed to me on the basis of what I watch. So I declined their kind offer, but It's a brave new world. But I'm not violating anybody's copyright by saying that. I mean it's a brave new world, not anything having to do with those books. So here we are with a couple of things. Anybody have any comments, questions, rumors, gossip, innuendo, slander, libel? Because watch CSI or CSI Cyber now, I guess it is. Oh wait, that's gone too. Are there any?
Yeah, because if someone says, okay, if you're going to update the firmware in my device, it's for, fixes and security and stuff like that. But I don't want someone, analyzing my habits. And
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, that's where I usually tell them to go jump into San Francisco Bay.
Yeah, I guess if you want a TV now, that's the kind you have to have. There aren't any choices in that regard. But I guess I was saying either on the email list or last month that we don't own our devices anymore. It was in another context, but this is the point in my opinion. So we've been talking about Glenn Hayden's books and other publications. The late Glenn Hayden left us some of his stuff. The material has been transported down the mountain in a very biblical turn of events to storage, and we are storing it and sorting it and dispositioning it in some fashion. There are some dibs on this stuff. The first dibs are that the Computer History Museum has, in our opinion, we agreed to give to the Computer History Museum one of everything. What that means to my mind is that if we only have one of something, it belongs to SVFIG. If we have two of something, the second article belongs to the Computer History Museum. That's what we agreed to. And after that, we'd like to put it in places where it can be disseminated. The hope is that organizations like archive.org and BitSavers would be willing to scan this stuff either immediately if there are no copyright issues, or in the fullness of time, because in my opinion, unless you're Mickey Mouse or some other corporate entity, copyright is not forever. At least that's my hope. Maybe it's a forlorn hope in this day and age. What do you think, George? Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? Right.
It's part of our national defense now. Clinton made intellectual property part of America's national defense.
The Digital Millennium Crapola Act?
I'm sure it was in there.
Okay. I take exception to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, but let's not get off onto that right now. All right. It's all my fault, I'll have you know. So, anyway, the thing that remains to be seen is what we do with the stuff that SVFIG hangs on to, and it's my hope that we can scan things and have electronic copies that can be in multiple places until the coming of the age of the going of the copyright or whatever other intellectual property entanglements we find ourselves in. Let's move on to the question of Meetup. Thank you to those of you that register for this meeting on Meetup. It's nice to have the look to the meeting that people are coming and are interested and using Meetup to find us and get here. I don't know how true that is these days. We have to maybe work on more content that appeals to people in the wider universe before we start trying to get people in to enjoy it. So the last guy that was paying for several meetups, among them SVFIG, a guy by the name of Robert Sexton, had decided about a month ago, I'm getting out of the meetup business. I don't know when he actually decided it, but he communicated this to us. And Andreas Wagner, who also had a basket of meetups, was kind enough to take us into his, because apparently you can never buy just one meetup. When you pay for it, you get at least 2 or 3, I think. Okay, the minimum Andreas says is 3. We're one of Andreas's 3 now. Thank you, Andreas. Okay. Last chance. Anybody comments, gossip, slander? Does anybody know the difference between slander and libel?
One is written, the other is spoken.
I see. It reminds me of a Heinlein novel where these guys were staying raid after, and the sergeant gigged the perpetrator of some subversive act for some smudge on his uniform, and the aside in the text of the book was that this was a libel. And
maybe you should just mention the fourth day that it's going to be third Saturday.
okay, coming soon on the 3rd Saturday of November will be 4th Day, our annual extravaganza. And I think that if you go to, let's try this in a browser that is not Meetup aware. So much like USPS.gov goes to USPS.com, meetup.org goes to meetup.com. So is there a search here that I can search for SVFIG? So, upcoming 2. I think that's a slander or a libel, I'm not sure which. So there it is. Fourth day, there are people actually signed up. There are people signed up to speak as well. And you can look at the morning's video if you haven't seen it already. Me blathering about who's coming to speak at fourth day. But one point I'd like to make about if you want to speak on fourth day, don't post to the meetup. Just send me a message either through Meetup or through my email address, because that's the most effective way to communicate with me personally. The organizer, yes, I've always enjoyed that that term. My feeling is organizer is too strong a word for this group. It would imply that we're organized. So is John Harbold awake at this point in time? All right, because it's your time on the schedule to discuss your progress and challenges in getting G4 to run under RTEMS. As okay. Do you,
Transition, I asked unanimous consent to have it considered that I had Yahoo for being a bad spokesperson.
what did
Yahoo, well, you remember when Yahoo ratted out the Chinese
sure.
activists to the communist Chinese years and years ago. And they said, oh, we're sorry. We won't be doing that again. And they made all manner of moves for privacy and whatnot, and then maintaining bad security practices. Well, that's anyone can. But then actually conniving with the feds. I'm a sad panda, and Yahoo sucks. It sucks sufficiently germane not to be actionable, right? It's a generic displeasure.
Anybody can sue anybody else at any time for any reason. I did.
How are we doing up there? Oh, thank you.
It's coming.
We have something, but I'm going to have to. Huh? Oh yes, that's the background. Hold on. We don't have anything, or do we? Well, let's see. Displays. That's number 3. Oh crap. Yeah, it'll come back. Hang on. I'm suffering from HUA. Mirror, that's the one I wanted. Okay, you can go away. Basically, I think I have to go find this now. Crap.
And it worked. So I feel like
Whatever I happen to be streaming.
we can just
God
count on that.
damn it.
Objectionability is in the eyes of the beholder.
Yes, but they used to say in the old West, don't do anything that's going to scare the cattle.
Feeding cattle is always
So, is anybody here that grew up in the Midwest, is cow tipping a real thing, or is it just a suburban?
I get cargo.
Oh, stockyards?
Think of the past.
Seeing that cows sleep standing up most of the time. If they're asleep, they will fall over if you push them. They don't wake up fast.
Okay, guys.
They don't wake up fast.
Here is I think what I was able to accomplish. Okay. Oh, sorry, my fault. Oh, no, let me show you this. One of the nice things I was able to do, I can now do remote GDB to a virtual thing running. So, let me split that. Okay, and I can say GDB, and the program that I'm going to be running is fileio.exe. And all I have to do now, because now I've got it, is just about ready to start in this black screen right here. And all I have to do here is just say, when I run GD, because I ran GDB and I gave it fileio.exe. That's the program that's running there. And all I have to do is say target remote local host and use 1234 as the port, and it hooks up. Then all I have to do is say C, continue. And come over here, thing starts running, which means I can start debugging this thing in a real thing. Now, this is as far as I got. Start the shell, I log in as root, and there's no password. There's G4th, okay? Now this is what happens when I run it. I forgot I turned on debugging. Why did I do that? I'm a knucklehead. Anyway, what happens is I have some undefined fourth words in there. And I think I know which ones they are. This will eventually stop working. I'm now trying to get down to the point where I can create a G4th fourth image that I can load into here. Oh, that's the other thing. Let me show you what I had to do. Okay. Here. Wait a minute. Let's get back to cancel now. Crap. Okay, I had to write a Python script to convert I have to find it first. There it is. This is the program, and what it does is it'll take a binary image, which looks like this. Come on, don't make me look like a putz. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. As you can see, this is the fourth dictionary. The problem that I'm having is, see these two guys right here in yellow? The open pipe, closed pipe. In RTEMS, there's no such, it doesn't understand what that is. So I took it out, but the problem is it's being referred to somewhere else in this image. I have to be able to go through the G4 make process to make this G4.fi file. And you can see it's all in binary. What I had to do there was, let me get out of here. Come on, why? Oh, yes. This happens. Echo got turned off, so I have to turn it back on by memory. There we go. This is how you do it. This command here. Let me get back. And here's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh, this is how you add a new command here. You can see this is main G4. What it basically does is it calls G4 main, and away it goes. It should work there. Okay. Oh, right. Sorry. Here. This is the G4 dictionary that took the binary file, G4.fi, and converted it into a bunch of bytes. Okay, so this literally creates the file. All right. So once I'm able to fix the problem of these unknown fourth words, which obviously I'm guessing is open pipe and closed pipe. Once I get those things taken out, this should load. And when that happens, then you can run forth under RTEMF, under basically a real-time operating system. And that's as far as I got. And I'm burned out right now. So anyway, yeah.
Do you have anything specific to say about
RTEMS, well, it's a rather old, long, real-time operating system. It basically was in the, if I'm not mistaken, in the late 80s, RTEMS was being used. So once I get this, interfaced, remember Micreum? Remember the thing, Micreum? Micreum got bought by Silicon Labs. Okay. So I don't know if Silicon Labs is going to honor, Micreum for makers. Maybe, maybe not.
what was the thing about Micreum for makers?
You got the source.
And it was, how much did it cost?
Nothing. Yes. So
How much does
RTEMS, nothing.
Where's the source for that?
That's on their website. RTEMS, yes.
Source too?
Yes, they do. What I want to be able to do is copy how to boot up a PC to run a particular program. In this case would be G4. Actually, in this case, I want to be able to run Micreum under a virtual PC. So then I'll have two operating systems that I can now get G4 running under. So that's about as far as I got. It's been rather hectic. Yes? Anything, Dennis? Okay. Like I said, my goal is to be able to write real-time, use forth and be able to write real-time tasks that utilize the RTEMS tasking and all its other nice real-time things. I don't know if you guys remember, several months ago, I think this was back like March, I was able to get G4 to run pthreads under Linux. That, I got the whole banana to work. So I did that actually as practice so that I can now be able to start up G4 words, because one of the things that G4 uses is TLS, that's task local storage. And that's very important, so you can have separate, not necessarily separate dictionaries, but you can have separate stack spaces, and that's what's important. And I did demonstrate showing that I had one fourth word that was actually spawned 4 times with different data running under it. So with that, I should give up the microphone and let some other poor guy get up here and babble away.
Okay, well, let's go on a break for 20 minutes or so.
That would be nice.
Establish contact with our next speaker. Yeah, I just remembered, does somebody have a display port, mini display port to anything? I do. That's what connector was just talking about. So not that. Speaking. Mini display port.
Oh, crap.
Small. That's the big one.
All righty. My head is thoroughly Oh God, please do it. Please don't make me look like a schmuck. You made me look like a schmuck. Please don't make me look like a putz. Oh God. Yeah. Oh, thank God. Okay. Alrighty. Go to sleep. Okay, make sure that you don't get in my way. I need to get to my desk and get this thing re-plugged in. It's all right.
That's the wrong thing. Yeah, I'm working on that. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, you're failing the volume test.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, I've got 3 buttons here that all say down, down, and down. Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that quieter?
I don't care. There's a black dot.
No black knob that controls the master volume.
Does that seem like it's quieter? All right, John Marble.
What?
Can you hear me now?
What, am I too loud?
No, can you hear me now? All right.
Dang, I
Okay.
do.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that getting louder? Louder, 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 louder. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1. Oh, I think it's this one.
Does that seem louder?
All right.
Well,
Let's see
Roger.
her. All right. I think that's keeping no quieter now.
It's not controlling it from there. He's going direct into the PA system, and it's not the pipe here.
A bull in a china shop.
All right. Yeah. Yes, I'm trying.
Is this knob on here?
It's not. That's not controlling what he's doing.
There.
Am I back here? Control here.
As far as I know.
I don't know.
Plugged into the
Roger.
thing you're supposed to be plugged
Oh,
into.
there's
Is this your audio?
okay.
Me here.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Guys. Here.
We are technically challenged. And what do I have for?
Neighbors that are mad. This is off now? Okay.
I don't know that I've got volume here though.
Hi.
That's coming out there. Okay.
I'm
Roger,
gonna
can
share
you
my
hear us?
screen. Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you alive, Roger?
Yeah,
Can
Hey.
you hear us?
I'm talking. Hello. Hello, testing.
Can you hear us?
Where's that stupid? There we go.
He's talking. No.
Hello, testing.
We cannot hear you. That's me. That's not there. The white icon is actually that's. I can try clicking there. No, that makes it come out of my mic here.
Oh.
Now we've got two mics going at the same time. That's not what we want to do. Let's check over here. Yes, I've turned off my mic. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
He can hear us. Okay. We still cannot hear you. And I don't see anything on my end that we are turning it off.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Next question.
Make some other sound.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
Speak now, Roger. Oh, I
Testing
hear
1
I
2.
see bars.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
But nope.
1 2
Not
1
making
2.
it here.
Here even. Okay.
Hang on. This may be. Oh, that's the. Oh, there's a part.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
Ah.
Turn off microphone. Are you muted? You probably just want to be muted.
Testing 1 2. I hear myself.
You are muted. That's weird.
I'm
Oh,
muted.
sorry. No, is that actually on? Or is
You've got some major
That's me.
feedback. You got to use
That's this
headphones.
computer.
So why are we hearing it then?
Because
Kevin?
this is out the speakers.
Yeah.
But now we
Testing.
hear.
Testing 1 2. All right, I think mine's working.
I think you are too. But
Actually, is this just the Hangout interface? Is that why? Recording devices.
playback devices actually. Is that even on there? Disable. Okay. That shut that guy up. Properties. No.
Is it so? Just a source issue? Divert to the headphone jacks.
Okay. Now we don't have anything.
Going to 100%.
speakers. Roger, speak.
Hello. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Check check. 1 2 1 2. Check check. Testing 1 2. Check check. 1 2 1 2.
Because I'm this guy. Oh, that's right, and that will show. This is just going to be weird. I may have to.
I'd love to retract every nasty thing I ever said about Google Hangout.
Why?
Didn't know when we were well off.
Are you there, Roger? Are you? Yeah. Can you say something? Say something.
Check check 1 2.
There we go. Okay. Okay. We're gonna do this. Kevin, can I take this?
Sure. You want another one?
Nope.
Want that one?
I want this one.
Okay. Hope it's long enough to suit your needs. Let's unplug this. If I had known in advance, I would have plugged in a longer.
If I knew we were going to have so many problems today, I might have done something different too. That's the theory, yes.
This is the genesis of my long-standing policy that still obtains in the morning. There will be no remote presentations on board day. But unfortunately, the A-Ray folks can't have that luxury.
Okay, Roger, speak.
Check check 1 2. Awesome.
Got it. We got it. You're here. You're on. You're live. Speak.
Wow. I'm so happy to be here in sunny California.
So never
I
mind me.
just
I'm just walking around trying to get things a little more organized here.
okay.
But you have the floor. That's right. I've got to do something for you.
Wait, I have the floor? I thought someone was coming before me.
They've all come and went.
Oh no. Okay. All right, then let me share my screen.
So I'm going to hang up here and get rid of that bandwidth.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so do I have an hour?
You have 2 hours. 1 hour.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just get started. I didn't really practice this, so what happens will happen. I guess I just want to thank you guys for setting this up and giving me the opportunity to show you guys what I've been doing. So this is my little intro. My name is Roger Levy. I'm an aspiring game designer from Baltimore, Maryland. I work as a full-time web app developer, doing JavaScript, server-side JavaScript, and the standard stuff. I'm a recovering artist turned coding addict. I never envisioned myself becoming a programmer. I just sort of like got sucked into it because my dad was a programmer, and like I just wanted to like draw and animate and make design video games and stuff, not actually like program them. But I got hooked when I was a kid on languages like Logo Writer and Basic and stuff. Little did I know like what like real programming was like. So once I went down that rabbit hole, I had like a lot of hard lessons to learn. Which leads me to the next point: is that as a programmer, classically, I've not latched on to like good practices until very, very recently. So as a result, a lot of my old code just like doesn't work or is not documented at all. And a lot of my ideas were way ahead of what my actual ability was. So what I'm about to show you today is just a fraction of what exists. I'm sitting on a mountain of code and ideas and all sorts of things. And just recently, before I got my most recent job, actually my first full-time job in years, because I was a freelancer for a while, basically, I just started to get more serious about this after kind of like reaching this apex of like basically being sick of programming. And I swore it off. I would never program Forth again. That was a few years ago. And then I found myself getting stuck back in. And I guess this is sort of like the story of how that happened. A little bit of that. I thought it would be a good idea just to like talk about the stuff that I've learned in the past couple of years that I didn't even like practice at all before. All my code from before was like not documented. So I've, but I got several opportunities in the past 5 or so years to actually work on Forth stuff with other people, including Stephen Pelk. I wrote the graphics API for his package, which was mind blowing to me. I never thought I'd get paid to write Forth code because I've been doing Forth for like 15 years now, and it's just kind of like a slow realization that it was like kind of a bad idea. But as a language, I really love it. Other stuff, version control, prioritization. I got a chance to direct on a couple game projects, and when you're on the schedule, just the importance of prioritizing, so you can get the most important bits done, get that minimum viable product out. It was just like a real eye opener for me. Like how to actually finish stuff was like a really big realization to me. The next one is kind of important because I kind of drank the Kool-Aid big time when it came to like color Forth and minimalism and all this stuff, and like being really close to the metal. And I actually struggled with this for many years. Like, how minimal should I be, and how much abstraction is too much abstraction? Am I doing it right? Am I reaping all the rewards that Forth has, or am I missing the point entirely? But I came to the conclusion that Chuck Moore is a real extremist, and he's a huge inspiration to me. But a lot of the stuff that he says is very embedded in the context of the work that he wants to do. So a lot of the stuff that he says kind of comes across as absolute when he's really speaking in context. So the spirit of what I think he does is there in that I'm trying to do things differently. And I think that I'm starting to uncover some discoveries and reap those rewards. Which leads me to the next thing, which is that my ideas all throughout these years have been like way too big for one person to chew, and especially somebody who's actually not a very how to put it, just not the kind of person who like dots all his I's and crosses all his T's all the time. I've gotten better, of course, because now I do programming for a living and I actually make like real money at it. Which actually is a big reason why I want to present now, is that I don't have as much time as I used to work on this stuff. So having other people know about it, maybe jump in on it and look around, start playing with it, might be good for it. Maybe a community might spring up one day. I'm not expecting everyone here today to start like to become a game programmer or anything, but be cool to just kind of like talk about whatever and learn from each other. So next slide. I guess this is just sort of like maybe not that interesting, but I would stop fourth a lot, and but I realized that it's actually really good for if like you want to take knowledge that you've learned from something else and like do it a different way, or do it like in a way that you want to do it. It's really, really good for that. But you have to have those outside influences. Otherwise, it just becomes like this weird echo chamber where you could do anything because it's so incredibly flexible. But you need that kind of like substance. You need to bring that substance into it from somewhere else, and kind of adapt it to like this kind of low-fat coding world. I'm 100% certain that fourth is really good for games. I hope I get a chance to show a little bit of code so that you guys can see what I mean by that. And of course, I think fourth has a ton of potential. I think it's really stagnant right now. Just because I use the ANT standard doesn't mean that I think that it's like amazing and perfect and whatever. I think that it's a great platform on which to share ideas. And I've made some strides myself in trying to reconcile, I guess you could call it different programming styles in the same project, which is the idioms that I referred to in the description of this presentation. So the game that I was most recently working on was this game called Saturn Cycle. It's kind of surrealist, almost Lynchian 2D adventure game that I was working on with a friend. Unfortunately, we recently kind of parted ways because I started my job and I didn't have enough time for it, and we kind of butted heads on what we wanted to do. So the engine for that was called Saturn, and it actually had some pretty advanced features: depth sorting of objects, fast collision detection. Like you could have thousands of objects, and it would be able to handle them. There's this program called TileEd that is kind of a indie game development scene standard for creating your worlds, and it supports that subset of its features. Kind of a neat feature that I've been using for a number of years is mass multitasking, inspired by basically classic fourth round robin scheduling. And I might demo some of that code. The source code doesn't currently work in the latest version of my framework, which is called Bubble. And I actually probably should have put that slide before this one, but too late now. So I just wanted to quickly show off what the state of the game was. I sent Dennis. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, you want to fire that up?
Okay.
Yeah, so I sent him this early build, just kind of showing off a bunch of features. I'll kind of direct you to swim around an earwig that is aquatic, even though earwigs aren't really aquatic. We just really wanted to kind of create like a dream world. Can you point me towards the screen?
I am sort of. You're seeing my screen, and there it is. Are you seeing that on your side?
I'm looking at a table with some chairs.
Oh. That's right. Wrong camera. Or what are you seeing now?
It's the same thing right now, but maybe it's gonna change in a second.
Let me get back over here. Oh, that's why. There.
Oh, great. Yeah. Cool. So, whoa.
Yeah, I'm zoomed in way far. Let me try to zoom. Well, I'm way up close to the screen is the problem.
By the way, this image with all these green dots is not part of the game. That's for something else that I wanted to talk about. It's actually about the multitasking bit. I mean, I guess I can talk about that real quick while you figure this out.
That's probably a little bit better.
I can see more of the screen now. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is everything's delayed. I change
Yeah.
something and wait 5 minutes.
Yeah. At least audio seems to be pretty fast.
Yeah, audio keeps up faster than the video. The video, my computer is just not powerful enough to, and it's a fairly powerful computer, but now the question is, can I get, well, what I've got to do is share my screen. Share screen.
You shouldn't need to. You should just be able to switch to the game.
No, because it's got to stop being that.
Oh, I won't be able to see it.
There's the game.
Oh, okay. I see it now. Great. Thanks. Yeah, so you're this little earwig. The controls are pretty simple. It's just up, down, left, right. You can see some little test cards. One of them is moving in a motion controlled by a program, which is like super simple. I think it's like 2 lines long or something. So just like swim around where you are right now because of the lag. But I think you're passing by a sprite that demonstrates a certain wavy effect that I coded. Swim down and to the right. You got stuck?
That icon.
You're gonna have to give me like an update of where you are because I have no idea where you actually are right now.
I know. I'm. Well, I think. Yeah, there's a little guy swimming back and forth.
Okay, yeah, just swim down and to the right, like swim southeast. Stuff is.
And more of those little guys.
Oh, and you can press Alt tilde, and that'll reveal all the collision boxes, which is kind of neat.
Oh, there.
You see them?
Yep, I see them now.
Yeah, so that's using the fast collision system. So every single object in the map, which could be massive, is only checked in the local area. Like, so the earwig only checks the boxes that are closest to him.
Yeah,
Dash.
and I've got the little object that looks like a CD,
Oh yeah, actually that's supposed to be a troglodyte, I believe.
and that moves weirdly when I'm close to it.
Oh yeah, those are the test cards.
One of them does at least. The
So
other one doesn't.
yeah, that's just two different kinds of scripts attached to those.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really anything else to demo here. You see we got parallax scrolling in the background, scripted objects, the most basic of AI, massive collision detection. So yeah, this engine was coming along, but I thought that it might be more fun to try and make something that could be played with more interactively. And I thought that that would require a much simpler API. This is on hiatus, and I'm focusing on resurrecting some old code. We can stop this demo now,
Okay.
so we can move on with the presentation.
And I did it without hitting the escape button. Aren't you proud of me?
Yeah, good job. Yeah.
We found it.
Bad things happen when you press escape.
Yes. Last night we were doing a test and it crashed badly.
Because I never pressed escape because, like, you know, I knew how it works.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're back on you.
Okay, great. So yeah, just real quick about the multitasking. It's so fast that this is actually a test program from God when I was like in art school, like 2003, and I was using software generated graphics. Now I'm using OpenGL or DirectX, depending. It's all abstracted away from me, but it's hardware accelerated. Anyway, this one is all software generated graphics, and I think there must be around 500 entities here, each running their own multitasking program. And they would cycle through moving around, and then kind of these red lines would come out of them, and then these orange circles would come out of them, and then they would turn gray. They just kind of like cycle through that. And I think they also propagated. Unfortunately, I can't demo this live because it only works in Windows XP. So, because that's like really old stuff. So, I would have to bring this code over to the new framework, and I just don't have the time. So yeah, moving to the next thing. This is the first commercial game I've put out in fourth. We got it on Steam, and it's been out for a couple years, and it's actually shockingly turned us a small profit. And I continue to get checks, royalty checks. I collaborated with a guy who kind of came up with the seed idea. It's another kind of Lynchian, surrealist, artistic game, much more so than the one that I just showed you. It's a short game, it's only 1 to 2 hours. The meat of the game programming was 1 month. It actually took us about 3 months to develop, 1 month for the engine, 1 month for the game, and 1 month just to support the animation program that we were using. Because their documentation was so bad, we had to talk with them on the forum and figure out what the latest actually was. So just trying to get to work with their XML format to import the animation data for all the characters. Just setting that up just took a month because working with other people's code is always hell. So what was great about this is like we could actually make like a real polished thing, and thanks to super fast compilation, a certain degree of interactivity with the Swift fourth console. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun, like having so much control over it. I kind of got discouraged at the same time, I remember, because it's actually really hard to make a game engine. It's really hard. As it grows in complexity, if you don't have the knowledge, you're in for a bad time, because there's just programming isn't functional. Like it is, like we don't have a lot of functional, like it's not very pure. There's all these side effects and stuff, all these bad couplings, so that it'll run fast, basically. If I was using a functional language, I don't know how fast it would run. Like Forth lets you program pretty functionally, but I wasn't always doing that. So a lot of weird things that I had to solve kind of made me feel like it was time to stop trying to make game engines, basically. Like it wasn't about Forth. It was just like, I just wanted to make games. I didn't want to do that anymore. But of course, as obviously I came running back, armed with new knowledge. As usual, again, at the time I wasn't doing what I should, which is keeping a copy of the engine of the game used, like in the project folder, which is the thing that you should do. Instead, I was sharing the engine among like 4 different programs, so I ended up breaking the game. But it shouldn't be too hard to. Just haven't gotten around to it, I guess, or there just was never like a big onus. I wanted to show a couple videos now. How much time have I used up?
22 minutes.
Dang. Okay. I guess we can just look at the trailer, and I'll share the link to this this Notion.
Did you go away? I think we lost your audio. If we didn't lose, he got clicked off. Or did we lose internet? Oh no. That's what happened. Now I don't know what's going to happen here. Or here. so we're back alive there. Now I just got to get the... Yes. Try again in a few moments. No.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. We know the internet. I was on the internet that shuts me off after 4 hours, and
Oh, great.
yes, so now we have another 4 hours, but we won't be here that
Okay.
long.
Oh, no. You mean I don't get another 3 hours?
No.
Oh, too bad. I know you guys wanted to sit and hear me talk for that long. Um, so, I think I'm sharing my screen now. Again.
No, you're not sharing your screen at the moment.
Oh, try it again. Why isn't it working? What's going on? It says I am.
It doesn't say you are on my end.
Oh, great. Let me try again. Wow. It's like broken. It won't.
You might try stopping sharing.
I did.
Yeah.
So I just did. Um, can I hang up and join again?
You can. So add you again. Hang on. You just should be able to.
Okay. Let's see if I can share screens now. Okay, now it's working. All right, you should see
There.
the slideshow again.
You are screen sharing.
All right, great. Did you? No, I guess you didn't. Could you click the link that says 1 minute trailer on the lady slide? Do you have that?
This was the other stuff you sent me, and hang on a minute, I gotta get there.
Let me send you a link to that page so you can.
I got it. It's just I don't have it open at the moment. It's coming. It's getting there. It's trying real hard. There we are, and the notion or nation.
It's Notion.
The lady.
Yeah.
And now I have to share my screen.
I guess I don't think like I don't need to watch the video.
Oh, that's true. Where am I? And what the YouTube,
Yeah, the first one.
the 1 minute trailer?
Yeah. So that was actually just a short segment from one of the levels of the game, just to pique people's interest, kind of a little teaser. Because the game is really short, so I had to convince Mike to make the trailer really, really short, not show much, because the game itself is so short. Just to get people curious and wondering what the heck they just saw. So I think we were pretty successful, you know. Forth, actually made money. So it's kind of encouraging. Like it definitely made me think that I could possibly make it in game development. Since we only have half an hour, I'm going to try and be faster. Like, are we going to have time for any questions after the hour, or do we have to try and stuff everything in? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll take some more time here. No problem. Just keep on
Okay,
talking.
great. Okay. So yeah, this the latest stuff is based on lessons learned since writing The Lady. The Saturn engine is based loosely on the engine from The Lady, but there are a number of things that I'm fixed, like a number of things that I'm doing right this time in Bubble. And one of the consequences of that is development is, on top of having the full-time job, is the development is slower. So while so functionality isn't as impressive right now, or as quickly put together as with my previous work, but in the meantime, I'm solving a lot of long-standing issues that I learned over the years. So just skipping over some of this, I guess the big things are here where I mentioned pluralism. I think that Fourth shines when you get a chance to start with a clean slate, and it doesn't do so well when you've got like a massive API or something, because just like all the benefits are lost almost. Like you're basically programming in another language, but almost kind of handicapped if you have like a big complex API that you're expected to use. So I wanted to encourage.
Roger, it doesn't. I don't seem to be getting your video. This looks like my video. You're on
I'm not
screen
transmitting.
share still. Yeah.
It says I am. Do you need to switch over?
But it seems to be sharing your Hangout page, which I don't have some. There you are.
Okay, let me fix this. Okay, I got it. Sorry.
There we go. Okay.
Sorry. So like this was a big deal for me, is that like I felt like every time I went like every go around, what I was doing would inevitably become huge and complex, and I needed to figure out what the very smallest core functionality needed to be, and then somehow kind of encourage creating more special purpose game engines, and of course it went from there. And actually, we'll get to that soon. I use just-in-time compilation. I currently don't compile turnkeys because it makes it much easier to work with Allegro, which is my kind of backend that abstracts all the I/O for me. Because otherwise, you have to recreate a lot of state in the turnkey, and that requires a lot of support code. I just didn't want to be bogged down with that at this stage. So I don't know if I'm going to stick with just-in-time compilation, or like later on go back to normal turnkey kind of.
Question on our side: can you make that
Yeah.
bigger text? Can you zoom
Sure.
in on your slide a bit? There we go. That's better. Better?
Do this too.
Good.
Cool. All right. So yeah. So the focus is, of course, 2D hardware accelerated desktop games and other applications. I want to do embedded stuff and kind of like other platforms and stuff. But for now, I'm really just interested in Windows, Mac, and Linux. I just want to keep it to that for now. They're kind of evergreen in terms of like how much money you can make from them. I love game consoles, but it's just a lot to deal with. So, blah blah blah. Yeah. So all programs run on a standard main loop, which has some standard features, like for switching between full screen and a few other things like frame rate control, stuff like that. Making a good main loop is actually kind of challenging. I mean, so, like the simplest one is it would just be kind of like begin, think, draw again, or something like that. But if you want to do it right and keep things nice and smooth on most people's computers, you have to account for a lot, and you have to use an event-driven approach. So that's why that's a big reason why I was kind of like forced to have a main loop that would be shared by all programs. But on top of that, it supports it. Like I want it to support a standard IDE that'll be displayed on top of the game or beside the game, and also make it possible for different engines to be used in the same project. Another project goal is simple code. I don't care too much about runtime speed. I mean, like I reap the benefits of an optimizing compiler, but I don't want to have to think about it. So I tried to pick like the fastest, like thing that I wouldn't have to think about. But I don't spend too much time optimizing code. I used to, and it's not a good use of my time. So the code is not oriented towards like, wow, like look how incredibly small and fast and short this code is. I mean, it ends up being that way anyway because it's fourth, but I don't go to the extremes that I used to. My priorities are more just trying to like just get to where I need to be as fast as possible. Blah blah blah. Yeah, lots of software already written for these other platforms that were kind of like early attempts. Basically, this is the culmination of that, and I have a lot of software that I want to bring up to date, and I'll touch on those in a moment, later on in the presentation. This is what the core is right now. Compiles on 4th, 2012. really, I didn't even know 2012 existed until like just last month. So technically, it's 1994, but it'll compile in 2012. Uses Allegro version 5.2. Has a bunch of features. I call my kind of tool belt the entitlements. There's some stuff redefined, like my 2+ is for adding two numbers, not for adding two to a single number. Because I like 2+ to me is just useless. So my 2+ adds two numbers because I work with 2D vectors a lot. So that's an example of that. And 2 times is not 2 times. It's times two numbers, same way. Actually modify the interpreter to assume that integers are actually fixed point. And if you want to have integers, you have to go actually, but you have to specifically say you want to be in decimal mode, or you can use the pound sign to force it to interpret a number as an integer. But other than that, all the code almost all of it is transparently fixed point. So you get 12 bits of decimal precision, of sub-integer precision, which is kind of nicer than floating point because at least you kind of you don't have some of the downsides of floating point there. It creates the display, and then there's the main loop, which I call the piston. And big future plan is for there to be a fully featured IDE included in it with a rapid application development system that I've been kind of working on conceptually for a bunch of years. And I'll show some, I'll demo some stuff from that because I actually made some proofs of concept of my RAD system. Basically, it would be kind of like a GUI, almost toolkit for Forth. But I like to think of it more as an evolution of the CLI, of your standard interactive interpreter. That'll kind of enhance interaction with Forth beyond just the keyboard, to kind of bring the mouse and graphics into the mix. But yeah, moving on. Here it is. So if you could, Dennis, could you download that zip file?
Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Clicking on it, no, that's not what will work.
Oh, really? Try just like copy and pasting it.
I'm probably better off going into Bubble and Future. Nope, that's not where you were, must be.
Oh, you were looking at my screen.
Yes, I was looking at your screen and...
Yeah.
No, that's not it. Where were you again?
I'm at RAD.
Rad. Okay, you're in
Proof of
Rad
concept.
Proof Concept. There we
Yeah.
go. I'm getting to the right place. There we go. Dropbox.
Cool. So yeah, download that, and we're just gonna watch a couple of them. They're like really short videos that I took while I was developing them. We're just gonna look at the ones that don't run anymore.
Which ones are those? I got calculator, map edit, scrolling sliders, tile map.
Go for the tile map, map edit, and I think that's it actually, just those two.
What am I? Okay, that's going from there. We want to, hang on a second. We want to get into a place. What am I doing? There we are. I gotta share, go to me now, if that works. And share my screen. Entire screen. Share. And then go over here and do this again.
Oh, pause it here with the code.
Oh, okay. There's the code.
Yeah, so this is an example of specifying a GUI in the kind of scripting language for that. And basically everything is defined from top to bottom, left to right, like and it automatically formats things. And this text representation creates it, and then in this version I would actually store the state of it in a binary file, which could be loaded back. And the general principle was that if you wanted to make an application, you would create what this is called like a template. Is a template figure, and then that figure would be in memory while you're using it in the at runtime, and then you could save it to a file in a modified state. So what you could actually do is you could have a GUI editor always resident with whatever application that you're using, and you can make changes to certain elements of the application, like to a certain degree. So I don't want them to be able to break it, but they could add their own windows, they could add their own comments, they could add their own images and bits of text, or shortcut buttons or menus and things like that, and make a customized version of the application, save that to a binary file, and when they load it back, things will be exactly as they left them. So that was kind of my answer, kind of my evolution of kind of like fourth turnkey executables. And I think that this would be a great way to revolutionize software development. It's so simple in principle, and yet I think it has like huge potential. So this is just kind of a glimpse of that. This is just like an early version of how that works. I'm not going to walk through it because it would take too much time. So you can just go ahead and just watch this short video. I think it's only like 5 seconds long. It just kind of like gives a taste of what I was working on.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
so
was a shorty.
showing off like editing a map, or not editing a map, but just like what the interface looked like. And we can just quickly go to the map edit one, which was the first step.
I need to get back there again. And which one? Sliders or map edit?
Yeah, map edit.
Oh, that was quick.
So yeah, this was a map editor. It goes by really fast.
Yep, it did.
But it had a number of features. One of which is it actually would edit the map as using standard image editing tools. So you could like create rectangles and circles of tiles for a game world. It was just kind of a neat way that I reused some image editing code. It actually could be used to edit the map, the tile map itself. And of course, there's a little tile editor to the bottom right, and I actually like drew some pink pixels over the bush. This is all just very kind of like preliminary, just kind of like look. This is like kind of what it's going to be like when it's done. But of course, there's like lots of bad code and issues to solve, remaining problems to solve. I don't think I really have time to demo more of this because there's just so much to talk about. I think that's going to be for a future talk. But that's kind of like a taste of the rad stuff, which for a while I was calling Studio, and then I was calling Apprentice, and now I'm just calling it Rad. But I don't. It needs a name. I'm gonna give it a good name one day. So on to I guess the other star of the show is my new idioms concept. So basically, I really loved the color forth programming style, where like words are really short, and you're stringing them together, and you know them by heart, and you're kind of like sphere of possibility is limited, but it kind of like frees you to work faster and more clearly because you don't have so many, things to take care of and glue code to write. It's kind of astonishing what modern programmers deal with in languages like Java and C Sharp, all the ridiculous amounts of glue that they have to write to get things working. I mean, I could be doing that, but I feel like all this work that I'm investing will, if it doesn't let me save time in in the grand scheme of things, maybe it'll help some people in the future. But yeah, so games are too complex for just one lexicon. Eventually, you start needing to use hyphenated words, and it's not as fun to test those kinds of words. And I thought that there must be some way of making it like really convenient to kind of pretend that you're in like a closed off world, but not. But I felt like playing word lists. The lexicon for working with word lists was too fussy, and there's like a lot of words. I mean, on its face, word lists are kind of like a Lego set to build something better off of. So, we have Swift-forth packages. Like, that's really the only other namespacing convention I'm aware of. I know that there's one in VFX, but I'm not. I don't use VFX. I'm not really familiar with how it works. I find Swift-forth packages to be a bit clunky. Like they're very finicky. If you leave something on the stack, it causes an error when you close the package. I prefer, in general, like when a program kind of elegantly deals with problems rather than just like blowing up. So I wanted something that would just be kind of like mindless, like, and not have really, and not use the stack like Swift-forth packages do. And just be more convenient. So I'll explain how it works in a second, but basically what I wanted to do is take a complex word list and just like overwrite the entire search order, and like that would be the idiom that we're working in, thus the name of this. Another way to think of it is bespoke vocabularies. So you take a number of bits of code and you can like put them together, package them up under a single word, and that search order can be called back up whenever you want. This doesn't mean that idioms should be designed as if nothing else exists, like conventional kind of package systems and namespace systems, where like programmers will provide very large, complex trees of modules and packages. It's not meant to be as granular, even though you could use it that way. That's not the intention. And I'll talk a little bit about how I use them and how you shouldn't use them. And of course, now game objects can pretend that they're in their own little world, and you can redefine simple words freely, and the rest of the program won't be affected because you can take regular words like move or erase. You can take standard core words and redefine them in the context of just a game object, just any entity, any character in a game. And it has its own internal language. And there's no performance hit, which is like a big thing, because another way of solving this is to do like runtime or like dynamic binding of method names or whatever. You don't really need to do that. So this is just a crash course on how these actually work. So each idiom gets a public and a private word list. which means that unlike switchboard packages, the public words are not yet available, not to the outside program. You have to actually create a relationship to an idiom to use it normally. Each idiom includes its parents' public words and all of its parents' public words. So what you can do is you can create an idiom, and then you could create another idiom, which is like its child, which will inherit all the words from that idiom, but not its private words. Private words are only available to the current idiom they are defined in, for now anyway. I might change this, I'm not sure, because I feel like parent-child idioms are sort of like extensions of each other. So I'm just gonna have to figure it out through usage. So besides that relationship of parent and child, you can import the public word lists of other idioms. The difference being that the parents of those imported idioms are not imported, just the very top set of words. So this kind of makes it like possible to write, very like C# or JavaScript like libraries where you have a whole bunch of modules. I personally don't recommend doing that wholesale, even though you can, because it creates excessive fragmentation. It just defeats the purpose. What I really wanted to do was create different application domains. So we have like our game application domain, and then we have our RAD application domain, and then we have our like game specific tools, then we have our game objects, and then you can create all sorts of like modal domains, and there's no need for like everything to be packaged up as idioms. Instead, you have a number of very large idioms, and then we have what I'm calling modules, which are meant to be kind of helpers. And there are a number of them, but they're very small and almost incomplete. They're more like Lego sets. So they're meant to just assist in the creation of your normal, large kind of vocabulary type idioms. You switch between defining the public and private words with these two keywords. And they have underscores for now, just to avoid any conflicts. And you can export the public and private word lists explicitly for certain cases, which I'm not sure I'm going to keep around forever, but it's there for solving. Just because I didn't know how to, I wanted to convert everything to idioms, and sometimes it wasn't always a perfect match. So this was kind of the solution for that. It's kind of like a note about, like, when you import an idiom, it makes sure that the code is only loaded once, but it doesn't do that for like a parent idiom. Like, say if you wanted to create an idiom that explicitly inherited another one, that's not even generally a thing that you do right now, but it's something that I might do in the future. Let's see here. Yeah, so good idioms, application-oriented languages, Bubble's core, and engines. And I already mentioned a few other examples like the RAD environment and other tools, modules, of course, game objects, time-bound stuff. Like when you're in a certain level of a game, it could have its own language. Even an entire quest, like spanning multiple levels, could have its own base language that the game levels could inherit from. Stuff like that. Puzzles, same thing. Cutscenes can have their own internal language because they're bound to time. So it becomes very convenient to just be able to switch over to them. They execute their idiom. The search order is completely replaced, and it's as if you're in a completely different application almost. And you can basically we switch between them. So there's no opening and closing of packages or anything. You just We just switch from one to another. This is kind of like getting a little bit out there, but games within games, development tools, of course. And these are examples of things I think you shouldn't use idioms for, or just don't do it. It's not a replacement for word lists, so like you shouldn't like be thinking, look, how normally I would use a word list, but idioms are the new thing. Like that's not what this is meant to be. It's not meant to be a replacement for word lists. It has a really specific use, I think. You don't want to treat them like classes, even though they kind of resemble them, because there's no smart name resolution. This isn't for creating objects, so it wouldn't work. Giving every file its own idiom by reflex. Yeah, so I mean, excessive fragmentation is just something that is just counterproductive. It just makes things too complicated, because you're thinking about like, what idiom is this word from all the time? And you don't really want to be doing that. You want kind of like each word's identity to be pretty simple. Yeah, other stuff like, here's one, like Plato's perfect forms, like trying to make like the idiom for drawing 3D models, the one to end all, which is kind of like the way that it's done in other languages, like XNA is a Microsoft's platform, and they kind of like gave everything a label, and there's one class, there's a class for that in all cases. And you have to just deal with whatever functionality it gives you. And that's kind of not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help make it easier to make a language that is convenient to what you're doing. So there's a little bit of that, but I don't want to encourage like overly general solutions. Modules that make their public words as unique as possible. Like basically using idioms or modules, and the words in them are like compound words because you don't want to like conflict with any other ones. That's actually going against the whole point of it. Idioms designed to be switched in and out of frequently. I actually don't remember why I put this one in. I think we should just skip it. And I put this slide in because I just wanted to make sure that like the point of this was clear, is that I want to have some modularity, but I don't want there to be, the point of it is not to fragment the program into like tons and tons of idioms. That's why I called it idioms as opposed to like packages or something like that, or modules. I feel like I've sort of corralled modules into like its own specific thing, but yeah. Which is actually the next slide. I think I put these in reverse again. But in this framework, we have a folder full of modules, which basically is just full of stuff that is helpful in a variety of contexts. They just assume that the core has been loaded, and they can import each other, of course. That's some pretty standard stuff here. This SWES is a play on Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and actually it stands for Super Waterfall Entertainment System because at one point I wanted to start a game company called Waterfall. So that's just why it's named that. There's actually kind of like a class system, which I've talked about on the 4th subreddit. And right now, it comes with the node package, which is basically lets you create dynamic lists of things, like double linked structures. I might separate it out so that you can use classes without nodes. But it's actually not I'm actually trying to not use that in the latest engine I'm working on, which is I'm just going to go to right now. So the thing I'm working on right now is called Dorito. It's meant to be like a really, really simple baseline for for a game engine. And it's actually an evolution of this really old game I started like in 2003 or 2004. And it had just like a really great, simple API for making games. So I'm just kind of bringing that back and polishing it up and adding all the, like, some fancy new things that, you know, that Bubble makes available. Yeah, this is another one of those things that doesn't work anymore. So I have to port this, and maybe I'll be able to present it on 4th day if I get it done, because it's supposed to just be a really simple game. Yeah, this engine is meant to be just for 2D arcade style genres. Of course, it was designed with a shoot 'em up game in mind, but it could also be useful for a large number of other genres. It's oriented towards just if you like want to make a game that isn't necessarily all about graphics, because it's going to kind of limit you in ways there on purpose. And of course, the API is color-forth-like and very simple. I feel like I'm going over my time already. Where are we at?
How are we doing for time? How much longer do you want?
Oh, geez. It would be great if I had enough time to just kind of like give a peek at some of the code. And we got, let's see here.
What's that in minutes? We typically have to be out of here by 4.
What time is it over there?
3:06.
I guess I can just like a half an hour.
Okay, got a thumbs up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to just like give a little peek at what the code for Dorito looks like right now. So. So that old game that I was working on was called Dark Blue, and now I'm calling it Stranger. So that's what this folder is about. And Dorito's in this file called Startup. So what's nice about this is like it's just like a really compact list of definitions that just kind of make it a lot more convenient to use functionality from Allegro. And it also has some neat things that it adds to the pot. So you got your loading and your saving of bitmaps and drawing of sprites. Got many different options for effects that you can apply to sprites. Really simple set of words for drawing text. You can have regular text. You can have right justified text, or you can have centered text. And to set the font, I think you just set this variable. And then we have some words for drawing graphics, which I actually didn't include in Saturn. But that's kind of like the point of this, is that like we just want to make a game, and these primitives like lines and triangles and rectangles and circles and things are very useful for, I guess you could call it prototyping, but it also creates a nice kind of retro style. So for instance, you can see in this screenshot, I just used pixels to represent the stars in the background. And the ship is nothing but a circle. And so are these like little energy pellets that come out of the enemies that you shoot at when they die. So it's like a really quick way to create graphics. So I wanted to bring that back. Then we create a bunch of colors. These are similar to, like, this was inspired by Colorforth. It's just really convenient to be able to describe a picture in natural language. So you can say stuff like, let's draw at 4040, let's draw a pink rectangle that's 40 by 40 pixels or whatever. You can write that very naturally. I'm sure you're all familiar with this. Whatever. Whoops, just delete everything. Yeah, and then the standard stuff like keyboard, mouse, gamepad. These are actually just mostly like renaming of some fixed point math words that already exist, just to make them more compact. That's basically it. Like I really love words that are 5 letters or less. Those are my favorites. Yeah, the beginnings of like a tile system for making for really simple graphics that are based on a bitmap. This makes it convenient to chop them up and draw them. This is actually old code that I need to update, but it's the beginning of the. This is the version in progress. In every game, you got to have like a list of objects that are active, and this implements that using some clever tricks. All the stuff from here down is stuff I'm still working on. So that's just a taste of the kind of code that I like to write. Yeah, some more details here about it. Probably good for people to just read that at their leisure. Oh, one thing that I definitely want to do in this iteration is provide create my own tools for editing these graphics and for like editing the level in the game. So I don't want to have to like have a separate program or switch between stuff. And I also want to treat the game as like its own database, like with its own data formats and all this stuff that's just well suited to its own purposes. Because I feel like Forth makes that super easy. So I wanted to explore doing that. Like basically, having what you see, what you get tools like come with the engine. I feel like that's if that was the norm in game development, it would revolutionize the like video game art world, so to speak, in terms of creativity. Just because people would be able to just think less about how to do things and just concentrate on actually designing it. Yeah. This next slide is just a list of some things that I already have but need to be brought over. I already showed the tile map editor, but I have a working graphics editor, which is really useful for creating animations. But I want to update it with some improvements, including making it compatible with the RAD system, so it can be customized and you can be more modular in terms of all these elements. And this is a screenshot from the GameCube Forth that I wrote years ago. Like I think it was around 2007-ish. And this was actually real-time sound generation. And I'm sorry, I have audio files of this. Maybe one day I'll actually do a live demo of the GameCube running this stuff, because I actually still have that and it works. It's in a box. I also have HDR, tweening. I already mentioned the Spriter support for creating animation for the lady. Blur, pixel shader, particle engine. This is actually part of something that was mentioned before called the border, which is like a standard way for games to display themselves on a variety of screens, like in a nice centered, letterbox format if desired. And if you're using this like big blocky pixel style, it's really important to have integer scaling. Otherwise, you get weird artifacts when things scroll around. So it would actually take care of that for you. So that's something that I want to add to the piston to let all games take advantage of that. And then there was another thing for mapping input, because as decentralized decentralized platforms, computers have a variety of input things that you can use, like mice and keyboards and joysticks and gamepads, and they don't all match up with each other. So there has to be a way for programmers as well as users to map their controls to a game. So that's another thing that I think is really important for this framework to support. So I have like an incomplete version of it buried somewhere. We're going to bring that into it one day. This brings me to the last couple of slides, which are basically just like talking about where things are at and where I want to go next. At the very present, I have been restructuring things. Mostly done doing that. I'm going from a kind of like a weird dual repository to like a normal single one. I've just been trying to figure out like the most convenient way to have the folders set up, but I'm pretty happy with it right now. And then I'm going to announce that once it's done. And I'm working on Dorito, and I have a list of games that I want to work on for that. I have a guy, what's his name? Matthias. I forget his last name. We're already in Chrome. 1 second, please. Yeah, I've got Matthias Schirm. I don't know. I assume he's not there because I think he lives in Germany or something. He's helping me port it to Linux. Basically, it already does work on Linux, but there are some bugs, I think, with SwiftForth on Linux that we got to solve. And then I think after that, moving it to Mac shouldn't be hard. Because as long as Allegro is compiled for Mac, and I think maybe we might need to change a few Linux-specific things. Or maybe not, because Mac is based on Unix or something. I don't know the details. I've never worked on Mac, so I don't know. But I think Mac is going to be like really easy once Linux is done. I need to implement the border. And then other stuff I'm working on is like personal branding and like character designs for my games and stuff. Because I'm also an artist. And I meant to represent that better in this slideshow, but I just didn't have time. I've been sick and busy with my job. And of course, I want to create lots and lots of examples so that kind of this whole thing could be a lot more impressive for people. And of course, we need documentation. And I'm kind of stuck on that. Like, I could use some help in like figuring out what the best approach for documenting this is. Because there's Wiki, there's Notion, there's plain text files, there's inline comments, which I actually have a lot of in the source. But it always gets out of date, and yeah, I'm not good at it. And then I have plans for this. Basically, update all sorts of old tools that I've written, and get back into Radland, I guess. I already mentioned a lot of this stuff. Input mapping. One day I want it to be a self-contained compiler, so it's not dependent on anything. Also, Raspberry Pi, it could run on Raspberry Pi. Once it runs on Linux, that might not be actually too hard to do. Right now it's 2D only, so of course one day I'd like to do 3D. I'd like to support game consoles, and oh, this is really repetitive. I think I already said that. Yeah, and hopefully one day, I'd like to build a community of people who use it, maybe help develop it. And lots and lots of money. So any help with that is appreciated, because I would really like to do more of this. And it's so hard to do in the spaces between to really make progress because I can't concentrate. And with that, that completes my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. I guess we have some time for some questions, a few minutes.
Yep, we do, and hang on a minute, let me get over there a little bit. Just trying to get people into the view a bit.
Oh yeah, I can see some. I can see some heads.
The video's a little bit delayed.
Yeah.
Yes, there we are. And then I'll show up, and there, sort of, it's coming.
I'll switch off my screen sharing so you can see me.
No, I'm pointing to the wrong place. That's the problem with the delay.
That's okay.
Back over here. You have a question?
Yes, you mentioned you use a real-time operating system for all you in fourth. What's the name of it?
A real-time operating system?
Well, you say you use round robin scheduling.
Oh, there is a multitasking package in both of the engines that I currently have. So it's actually an add-on, and you can create tasks, and the piston will run those tasks. And they're very simple. They only support 8 data cells and 8 return stack cells. So they're really meant specifically for programming game objects.
I see.
Not really an operating system.
It's not really okay. All right. I
Yeah.
just want to get that clear.
Right, and you're
Sure,
running
sure.
this on SwiftForth still?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you're using the SwiftForth multitasker then?
No.
Oh.
No,
okay.
this is completely from scratch.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
On Reddit, you said, my name is Point3 on Reddit, and on Reddit you said you were looking to port your game engine to another fourth away from SwiftForth. Are you still looking into that or doing it?
I don't know. SwiftForth support on Linux seems to be fine. I think I was concerned with mainly like licensing issues because of the just-in-time compilation. I was worried about Fourth Inc. not being too happy with people being able to distribute basically turnkeys that would execute Forth code that was, uncompiled in any form. It just seemed like VFX. It just seemed like maybe MPE might be more amenable to that. But right now, I'm less concerned with the whole turnkey thing and more just with like growing the framework to the point where it's just fun to use as kind of like just to run it as from source in trial version of SwiftForth. It's not as important to me to port to VFX, although I wouldn't mind help with that because I don't know anything about the differences between VFX and SwiftForth, like almost nothing.
Right. And if you're going to Linux, you might even want to look into the GForth side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Another system I don't have any experience within, but I know that it uses a switch structure for all the primitives. So imagine it's going to be really slow. So I'm not sure how viable things are going to be in that.
I'm not sure how much of a switch statement it is using there. I've looked at the timings of all 3 of them, and these days they're real close.
You built the GForth fast.
Right. With GForth, you've got multiple options on how you run it. and there is a very fast version of it, and so it's variable on how
Yeah,
you
that might
actually
be.
do it.
Yeah, that might be an interesting avenue, just to have kind of like the freedom from licenses.
Right.
Um,
The other side of that is that G4 also goes into Android. They've got an
right.
Android
Okay.
version.
Huh.
It's a complete version of G4 in Android, yeah, with full GUI.
And SDL graphics and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
And that's something I haven't seen out of VFX or SwiftForth. Neither of them have even thought about going to Android, I don't think.
Yeah, that's definitely something I might look into now.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's progressed a lot since I first looked at it a few years ago.
Okay. And another.
So you said you were looking into doing 3D games, extending your engine to do 3D. Have you also looked at like maybe before that doing like isometric? Because I remember this tutorial series that was written a very long time ago. Tony Pa's tile-based games tutorials. Maybe you've seen
Uh huh.
that. It's really old, but I always wanted to port that.
Maybe. Let's see if I can look it up.
It's the website is offline, but
Tony.
Tony Pa. It's you can find it on archive.org because the
Oh wow,
website
that's
is
old.
so old that it's offline. But it's Tony TonyPA dot pri.ee/tbw.
Send the link to the list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll send the
yeah.
link.
Send the link and I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's some really. It has like talks about isometric tile-based games, um, games with like hexagon tiles,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's a really nice series, and I wanted to port the tutorials to Forth at some point. I just don't have the time to do it. But I'll send it to the.
Is that because of all the boilerplate and groundwork for getting a display up and all that stuff?
What?
Was
Is
that
that
a
what's
question?
keeping you from getting started on that? Yeah. Is the reason that you haven't had time to do it because of all that boilerplate and stuff that you would have to do to even like get stuff on the screen and get input going and all that?
I was actually at the moment I was looking at using Sixel, which is like a way to do graphics in a terminal. It's like ANSI escape
Uh huh.
codes, but it's like the ANSI escape codes. They're gonna have colored text in your terminal, but it's for raster graphics. And
Huh.
it's a feature of like, it's basically ANSI escape codes for raster graphics. And I was
Uh huh.
experimenting with that, and I was gonna so that I could have the colored 2D graphics or even 3D in my terminal without using like SDL or something like that. That's what I was looking at doing. So I have sort of like a Sixel graphics library, which I was working on last night.
Cool.
Yeah. Just curious.
Well, personally, I feel like isometric is basically the same as 3D. It's just a different representation, a different way of displaying it. Um, I don't I don't have any ideas right now that I want to do at present that use an isometric mode. I'm like I have a pretty clear idea of like the games that I want to make right now. And they're basically like a dead simple like 2D type representation. Because I'm trying to keep like the technical bits of the games themselves pretty simple for myself because like I'm also developing all this other crap.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So
Same here.
I mean, it would be awesome to have like an isometric idiom or engine for Bubble. That would be amazing.
I figure you could leverage your existing code more easily with isometric than with perspective 3D because it's basically just 2D but on a
Right.
diagonal.
Yeah.
And
And yeah, I only provide like the bare minimum for doing 2D stuff. So yeah, and 3D is like a whole can of worms. It's like a whole like
if you add, as soon as you add perspective or things get smaller as you go in the distance, gets more complicated. But with isometric,
Yeah, and
it's
like
just
with all the
45
the
degrees.
formats with like 3D and like in dealing with shaders and culling and yeah, it gets complicated real fast.
Yeah.
I know that.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thanks a lot.
It went pretty good.
Oh, great. Glad to hear it.
And Kevin's got something.
I'd like to thank you, Roger, for your persistence and your extraordinary effort in getting to this point of remote presenting, especially in the post-Hangout era presenting. And I'd also like to ask for a round of applause for Dennis for his persistence and acumen and skill.
No skill, just persistence. I just keep on working on it. We are getting better each month. This is only the second time on this without Hangout on air. We're using Hangouts now, and it worked pretty good. We tried to do audio this morning, and that was a disaster, as is most of the stuff when we try first time.
Well, even if you didn't like this talk, eventually there'll be a talk that you'll want to see. It will be presented remotely, and this is how we're going to get there.
Yep, it's a start. Well, thank you, Roger, and we'll sign off
Thank you.
from you and get back to whatever we're going to do the rest of the day, if not just pack up. Thanks you much.
All right then. Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that I go off of there.
You know what I usually say at this point. It's either pencils down or motion to adjourn is always in order. If it takes precedence, it's not voted.
Yes.
We're not debating, excuse me.
Okay. I think we can disconnect here.
Now roll up the screen.
You can roll up the screen. I can disconnect audio.
I'm not in the mood to dick around
with anything more.
I think that what we'll do, we need PA, mixed